This week in 1980s news, just as soon as we debunked some Beetlejuice sequel rumors, a new 100 completely bullshit story is being floated around about the upcoming installment of Indiana Jones. Oh, wait, I think I can make some kind of metaphor. Let's see. As soon as we flush down one bullshit story, another bullshit story floats up.
Oh, and this one's cornier than ever.
Oh, I shouldn't even open myself up to that. It's amazing how we don't have sponsors for every episode.
It's just bad plumbing.
I think
Sponsored by Del Monte Canned Corn.
That would be amazing.
Speaking of corn in your shit, have you tried niblets?
There's so many products. Brought to you by Metamucil. So it seems, this isn't going to surprise you guys, but once again, it seems like this rumor is come back because part of it's new, some of it's sort of just resurfacing, as I implied in my metaphor. Thanks again to the Joseph Goebbels of pop culture, Overlord DVD.
Yes.
So according to DVD, Disney had some test screenings, secret test screenings of the forthcoming Indiana Jones sequel with 6 different endings. And again, according to his source, can you hear the air quotes, my voice?
Oh, yeah.
And every ending that was a screen for the audiences had 2 things in common, according to this asshole. One, audiences hated them. None receiving a higher than 35% approval rating. And 2, Phoebe Waller-Bridge assumes the mantle of Indiana Jones at the end of every single proposed ending.
These are very specific things that are being mentioned.
Yeah, they are.
35%. Yeah. Okay.
Well, a lot of I don't watch this guy very often. I only watch it when some rumor is going around, and then I start digging into it, and I want to looking at a video to see what was actually said. And a lot of it seems to be feed this sort of misogynistic, sexist sort of narrative that allows him just to, berate some woman or another. In this instance, being Phoebe Waller-Bridge and Kathleen Kennedy, who's been a target of his ire since Star Wars sequels. Anyway, in this instance, he made all these claims, and then to bolster them, he says he cites an article in the Daily Mail as confirming his story. The problem is, though, it doesn't really. The article does also have a quote source at Disney Studios that said, quote, a handful of different endings have been shot and are being shown to test audiences. That's the only thing they agree on, because then the Daily Mail says their source, who saw an early cut of the film, said, quote, there's everything you'd want. Nazis fighting on top of a moving train, a chase sequence through a parade, and Indy using his bullwhip to fight bad guys with guns. By the way, that review of an entire film sounds like what people would say about a trailer, right? I mean,
Yes.
that's how you reviewed the whole film. Really, guy? That's what you really saw it?
Here's some action moments. Now I have seen the film.
Yeah.
Right.
And also this
that calls nothing to plot or story or character.
No,
it's just like, oh, there's all this stuff, all these tropes. Yeah.
I don't think this is all garbage. And that source, or a source, also said that only in one of the endings does Indy, when Indy dies, but before dying, he hands off his bullwhip to Phoebe Waller-Bridge's character.
Okay.
Only one. So already 2 things. One, this source to the UK, if it's or this source to the Daily Mail, if to believed, didn't say anybody hated any of the versions. They didn't say they hated any version. And only 1 out of the 6 had this Phoebe Waller-Bridge taking over. So that doesn't bolster a good percentage of the nonsense that he is spewing.
Yeah, that's different. Pretty different.
Anyway.
And if true, I worry about any film that is crowdsourcing 6 different endings to find a good one. What does that say about story? It's like, we don't care what it is as long as it sells.
Right. Yeah.
And I think
on the one hand, you're trying to fix what you do with Crystal Skull, but on the other hand, it's like, what's the integrity of the creative process if you're really just, let's focus group what's going to happen next. It's a choose your own adventure Indiana Jones movie at that point.
That's what it made me think of. Choose your own adventure. Yeah.
You're right. To their credit, I suppose, artists, auteurs of these films are usually so headstrong and confident that they will produce and bring to the box office a piece of garbage that they're sure is fantastic, only to later see the audience's reaction and say, why did it end this way? Or why was this plot point there? They can't see it, the forest, but for the trees. So yeah, no one's doing 6 different endings. They rarely even do more than one ending when they screen test these things.
Sure.
Usually it's after the screen test, they're like, holy shit, we got to make a different ending.
Call everybody back in. Yeah.
Which reminds me of, what was it, that John Hughes film, Pretty in Pink, famously had a new ending because Ducky does get the girl at the end. They changed that. And if you notice, Andrew McCarthy has a wig on in the reshoots. Suddenly his hair is like, the hairline's weird and it's kind of floating on his head. Yeah.
I hadn't noticed that.
Gosh,
At the very end of the
I didn't
film.
notice that either.
Little Shop of Horrors, when they test screen the actual ending of the film, I'm sorry, the end of that film originally was like the Broadway ending where everybody dies, the plant eats everybody. Audiences hated that, so they shot a new ending where it is a happy ending. So no, they did not float out 6 different endings. But we know this for a fact because we don't need to listen to anonymous quote sources to determine the veracity of these rumors. James Mangold, the director of the film, took to Twitter to set the record straight. Responding to several Twitter posts, Mangold not only debunked stories of test audiences hating the movie, but also doubled down on the commitment that Indiana Jones is not going to be replaced
All right.
by anyone. Quote, nope, haven't been any screenings at all.
At all.
At all.
It's
okay.
up to you who you believe, an anonymous troll named Basement Dweller and Doomcock, or the actual director of the film. No one will ever replace Indiana Jones, not in any script, not in any cut, never discussed, end quote. So, this is when we realize Overlord, who, for folks who don't know, Overlord is Doomcock. It's like DVD, one of those D stands for Doomcock. I don't know which one's dumb. It's all dumb. And he's
In the
anonymous.
UK, he's known as Doom Knob.
I got to bleep that out, John. Oh my gosh. For our UK audience.
That's right.
They can hear everything else.
You bleep out the Doom or the Knob? Which
I'm just going to bleep the whole thing just to be sure. I'm not English. So this his strategy, and I said Joseph Goebbels at the beginning. I don't say that lightly because he is using a technique used by the Nazi propagandist, which is you being used by I'm getting political again, by politicians today too. They just say something that's nonsense over and over again and insist it's true. And then what they do is, this is what Doomcock did. I'll just give you an example. His response to James Mangold is, one, he's being attacked. James Mangold is attacking me, everybody. Disney is coming for me. So now he's the victim. That's one thing they do.
Oh, wow.
right.
And the
Like
other
correcting your lunacy of being attacked. Right?
Yes. And the other thing he says is, well, look, 2 things are going to happen. One, you're going to see Phoebe Waller-Bridge take the whip at the end of that movie, and then that shows I'm right. Or 2, she's not. And that's going to show you that I actually stopped Disney from doing that because they heard my voice complaining about how terrible that would be.
I'm so,
So either
sorry
way,
for
he's
them
right.
hearing his voice. Right.
Well, you'll never hear his voice because he doesn't use his real voice. He does his things anonymously with a mask on and a voice disguiser because he's a big person too.
That's what I feel sad for people listening to that.
Is he a
Yeah.
QAnon of movie
Yes.
criticism?
Yes. And John, you have to see the people in the comments defending him against other people and how they believe him and thanking him for making sure that Indiana Jones is going to be a good film because thanks to him, James Mangold's not going to do what he really wants to do.
Wow.
And if it's a
Kathleen
flop,
Kennedy.
it's just that he didn't do enough or they didn't listen to him.
Oh, yeah. It's whatever.
You can't, if you're your own spin doctor and you
Yeah.
run the
Yes.
entire narrative, you
Yeah.
can't lose.
Yep. Whatever suits you.
Yep.
Please, Disney, sue him. Please sue him, Disney. Now, the problem is Disney would think, well, we look bad now suing him, but just please sue him. You could sue him into non-existence.
But then, when would we talk about him?
Oh, I don't want to talk about him ever again. The only reason I do this is God forbid any people that are listening, not shouldn't say that. God willing, someone who believes his nonsense is also listening to us and saying, wait a second, maybe
Let's hope.
I'm being, cajoled by this idiot just so he can get clicks.
Yeah. Right. Yeah. Yeah.